says here that Periscope is not working. I wonder if it is. Said there was a notice, but maybe it is working. So let's see what happens. It's working. Okay, hi Charlie. I'm on both YouTube and now Periscope. Hi, welcome first timers to Periscope. And I can see your comments easily, and that's really super. So I may be cut off a little, but I'm tempted not to really try to do anything with the photograph because the iPad is really well balanced against the books. And here we are, and so many are joining. I'm so pleased. At the same time as I'm doing this, I'm also on YouTube. So I think that that's really exciting. Hi there, Lise, and welcome. I'm on YouTube at the same time, and I am hoping that all of you will join YouTube eventually, or at least if you're going to support me, just do it with my PayPal. Hi there. Welcome, everyone. Hi. But I don't know your name, and it's hard for me at this point. Hi there, Barbara. Welcome. Uh, it's hard for me to try to negotiate it. You like the social engagement on Periscope better. Okay, they're not going to share with Twitter or Facebook at all anymore. So I guess I'll have to do either a GoFundMe page or a Kickstarter campaign of some sort, or one of the others like Indiegogo. All right, but you guys like Periscope, okay? I am doing whatever everyone likes. Certainly having this in on the iPad in the landscape mode gives me a much better view of your comments. So whatever you'd like to say, I don't know if you've read my blog or not, but I am convinced that we can indeed overturn our state of inequality. No question in my mind we can. But it means we've all got to work, like I'm going to be doing at my temple. This afternoon at 3 o'clock, I have a conference call in with the head of our Social Action Committee, and it is probably not a bad idea for all of you. If you have a place of worship or a community center that you belong to, or some attorneys that you know, to invite them to your meetings and tell them your concerns. If you're concerned about gerrymandering in your state, or you're concerned about welcome everybody, if you're concerned about photo IDs or not having access to a ballot, or even you want to change the ballot so it's standardized. Hi there and welcome. I see so many new faces along with Lisa, who I know, and I hope everyone will add comments because I really don't know how easy is it for you to be involved. I don't know how many hours a day you're working. And participative democracy takes time. There's no question in my mind it's an investment in time. and energy, and we need a lot of people. Yes, so far my day has been great, but this is the beginning of my day. This is only, what is it, 11:03 our time in New York City. I'm fortunate to live on the Upper West Side, right opposite Lincoln Center. So it's a beautiful day, and I'm also fortunate to have an Apple store right near us, so that after the broadcast, I'm going to continue to take photographs and learn how to use it. You're from Saudi Arabia. Are you there now? And what's the time differential? I know I speak to a young woman in China, and she is 13 hours difference from us. So if it's my time, 11 in the morning, it's midnight for her. So, hi, Athir, welcome. It's a pleasure. And I can see that this is difficult. You're right. I'm getting people here. You're 7 p.m. Okay, so big time difference for you. You guys are having dinner. And I say, guys, you could be a woman, I don't know. Uh, and you're having dinner. But when I'm afraid to touch the screen to see who's watching if I don't know you, because it's precariously balanced as I do a simulcast. Sorry, kid. I got so many people who are clamoring for what little resources I have. It's pathetic. But I would like to be able to help people. There's no question. Hi, Kevin, and welcome. I see we have another old face here. And please ask questions. Uh, what I'm going to be doing today, and you guys might be interested in doing it in your communities, is using the rule of law to help us overcome inequality. It's working somewhat in New York City. Hi there, fake version of I don't know what, but this ain't fake. I talk from experience, and I talk from a base of facts and knowledge. So we're going to be discussing voting rights because I happen to know the man who wrote the book on election reform, and I have been writing him my comments on election reform for at least a year or more. We're starting to have election reform here in New York City. We haven't gone far enough. And it will take overturning our state's constitution so that we can have early voting and no excuse ballots. And very honestly, I don't think that we should have to report affiliations with any party either. I think we should have an open ballot system where anyone can run, and the person, the one or two people who get the top 3 votes in the city or the state, they become the runoff. But at least it opens up the field to more people than just party favorites. So that's one of the things I'm working on. Hi there, Roki, and welcome. It's a pleasure to see people. It's I would think out there you might feel alone, and this is evidently very common to a lot of people, unfortunately. Do I think it's good or not good? To feel alone is not good. That's my way of thinking. Uh, it's if you can get out there, you're better off being with people. I mean, I like my own company too, but I also need people. Hi, Kevin, what do you think uh, about being alone? It is a problem for a lot of people, whether they're in cities or rural communities, this feeling of separateness. Thank you. One for you. Okay. It's a pleasure to see people. Uh, you're lonely sometimes and people are annoying. That's true. That's true. You know, it takes a lot to establish a relationship. It's not so easy. And why do you think we have such a dysfunctional Congress? It takes a lot for people to A, look each other in the eye, assess each other's traits, and say, okay, I'm going to take a chance and I'm going to go with that person. Okay, I think you're right. After two marriages, you can stay alone. I agree. Not exactly talking about the rule of law, but human to human. I agree, kiddo. Uh, I would feel the same way. You don't want to be married again. And it doesn't matter. If you're not of childbearing age and it's not an overriding necessity, hey, living with somebody is equally as good, or just dating, or nothing, doesn't matter. It's whatever makes you happy. That's important. And sometimes that's hard to find out what makes you happy. So I guess a lot of it, we're getting, I'm giving you all a lot of advice, but I think been there, done that, understand. I don't even need a dog at this point or a cat. I like to be able to just go out. And you make yourself happy. I agree. I make myself happy too, so I'm in your corner, kiddo. I do what I want to do when I can. So that's the beauty of it all. And this way we can be involved. Uh, and there's so much to be involved about. I have recently read that they're expecting CO2 emissions to absolutely climb again this year. And we know that 0.5 degrees Celsius, if it arrives, is going to be a big hardship for a lot of people. And that is dreadful because it will use up resources like water and food. We will create more migrants, more refugees, and the killing has to stop, it seems to me, at some point when we recognize that we are just decimating our lands and we don't have unlimited resources to replant and redo our grounds and our I guess, and our food supply. We don't have those resources. Once we destroy our oceans, we're not going to have the fish we rely on. Once we destroy our water resources, we're not going to have water that we rely upon. So, and we can't live without it. Already, the monarch butterfly is dying out. I do not think that we have enough people, nor could we pay people enough to do self-pollination and become the butterflies of the future. I mean, I don't see us using people to pollinate pear trees or other fruits and vegetables that we want to eat. Kiddo, climate change is not a hoax like the GOP keeps trying to convince us. The greedy people are exactly what's causing our problems today. Right, hoax to what end? I have no idea. Hi there, Hermosa. Thanks for watching from Mexico. Because what affects us here affects you guys all over. None of us is separate. We have one planet, one world, and we cannot hide from each other, nor can we do things that consciously or unconsciously destroys the livelihoods of others. And that, I think, is the predicament that we're in today. That this is not capitalism that I'm seeing. It's not just social media that we should be looking at to break up. It is all the monopolies that we have produced over the last 30 years. I have a good answer for that, Kevin, of why they're convinced it's a hoax. They're not convinced it's a hoax at all. It's just something that they're telling the rest of us, hoping beyond hope that we're too naive and too non-inquisitive to find out that they just don't want to let go of what they know how to do best, and that's how to extract fossil fuels from the earth. And it doesn't matter to them the cost in human life and resources. They don't think it's a hoax. They know the truth. One of the departments that remained open during the shutdown was the Department of Interior. Do you know why it was open? It was open so that they could continue to sell private lands, public lands rather, to the oil and gas producers. That, if you believe it, if you truly believe it, you're right. Then you might as be a flat earther. I agree. But I don't feel that corporations or congressmen really believe that the climate is not changing. They just think it won't hurt them. Just like during Vietnam, when we used Agent Orange, nobody thought it would hurt us and our boys and our children. What is my YouTube name, Lise? It's Joyce Silver. It's my name. So, and since it allows me to do a title, just like Periscope, I do America Speaks, the voice of Joyce, and the topic, and it'll say in location that I am near Juilliard store, because I'm literally right across the street from Juilliard. I see both Juilliard and Raymore and Flanagan out of my window along with other apartment buildings. That's right. They know it's true. They just want the profits. Never mind that humans have to suffer the consequences. Because remember, we're not humans as far as they're concerned, right? Would they give us health care if we didn't demand it? Already, with their restrictive policies, 7 million people are uninsured. So that's because they've cut down on advertising for the Affordable Care Act. There's no excuse for what's happened except for greed. That is the only reason. Hi there. I see you, Lise. It is working, and I can do two things at the same. See, my iPhone is right here at the bottom of the screen, and I get you on my computer as well. But this is really fast. And when I go out of the country or I go anywhere, I want to be able to take this iPhone 8 Plus with me because it has the capacity to do really almost anything. And the battery life is awesome. So I must be getting a marketing call or something on the other phone. So that's what's happening. Sorry, guys, that it's interfering, but I'm glad. Yeah, so you can see that I'm on both places at the same time. It is embarrassing. And the other thing that's embarrassing, Kevin, is the fact that we don't have good education for everybody. We should be educating all of our kids. We should be providing lunches if necessary. I see we have a bot, but I can't get rid of that person now. Lise, you could, as a moderator, you could do it, and I think Kevin's a moderator as well. But I can't, I'm afraid to touch the screen lest anything happen, and I'm off. Okay, thanks. Yeah, because we don't need bots. Hi, thanks, Lise. Uh, Ahmed, not welcome and thanks for joining. So education to me, see, I believe that instead of marching, we do constructive things. Striking works. When the teachers strike, they get what they need. And that's a good thing because in the poor areas, kids need food. Okay, thank you so much, Lise. That's great. Maybe I'll see another person then on YouTube. You're right. An associate's degree should not cost anything, and we already know that in the major private universities, 30% go to legacy kids. 30%. Oh, thanks, Lisa. I really appreciate it. That's wonderful of you. And thanks, everyone, for joining. It's a pleasure. So, for me, it's the rule of law. It's the rule of law that's going to get us climate mitigation because we will have to go to the legislatures for that. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining, especially the first timers. That's really wonderful. And if you get to YouTube, you can see me here. I will do it simultaneous. My thoughts on immigration. I have a lot of thoughts on immigration. We have 11 million people that we have let into the country over the years. Those people, if they're working, should be allowed a path to citizenship. I think those permanent temporary visas that we've issued to hundreds of thousands of people, at least 300,000 of them from Honduras, from Ecuador. It might be, I don't know, but we should know. But if they're working and they're productive, hey, really, I could do it to Instagram at the same time. Okay. Anyway, anyone who's productive, they should be allowed to stay. We're going to need people to turn around our economy. If we were really staffed appropriately in our hospitals, in our nursing homes, fixing our infrastructure, trust me, we would be using an awful lot of folks, millions. Every $1 billion that we spend is $50,000 apiece to $22,000 for 22,000 human beings. And you can use, I'm fine also, but not as political pawns. You're right. If they need a barrier, great. But don't use people as political pawns. I'm sorry, I got to go look and see what Lee said about it might be too late to address climate change. I don't think so. I'll tell you why. We don't need to, we have a 12-year window of opportunity, I feel. And in 12 years, if we use the same kind of massive, I guess, what would you call it, manufacturing, policy change, whatever, we can really redo our society. When Kennedy said we're going to go to the moon in 10 years, we went to the moon in 10 years. So all we need really, and we've got the technological innovation. It may not be shared. It may be strictly in defense, but trust me, there's innovation going on. You cannot stop progress, and that's what everyone's trying to do, to stop progress. And why do we need our voices? To break up the monopolies, to stop the wage stagnation, to make sure that people have a decent living wage. And yes, I agree, DACA, the kids on DACA have to be on a path to citizenship. It's absolutely unfair to send them back anywhere. They're here with their families. They're productive. Do you know that they contribute a minimum of $2 billion a year to the economy? They get no health care. They get no services from the government at all. And every 2 years, they pay $495 in order to stay here. So DACA, absolutely. Permanent temporary visas, people on them, they're here 20, 30 years. You can't send them back. You know, that's inhumane to do. In May, I'll be going to one of the border towns. I'll be going to Arizona to see what's happening. My temple is going, and we're going to be talking to people to see what's really going on. The shutdown did, in fact, cost more than the wall, and it affected people terribly. I spoke to the taxi cab drivers in New York City, and they said that they have friends who have restaurants. Nobody was going for entertainment. This was a dreadful thing to do. It didn't have to occur. People can negotiate. You don't want to have something that's all or nothing. When we're talking about people and their lives, this is not win or lose. This people, whether they suffer or they survive. It's not a democratic problem. You're right, Lise, Barbara, the shutdown was a serious political error. It wasn't even a policy error. If it was policy, then you could negotiate it, but it wasn't. And I was listening today, and then I see we're at the bottom of the half hour. God, it went really fast. The mayor of El Paso has a wall because he's one of those cities that people do, in fact, come through, just like San Diego. And he said he does not understand why in the world is Homeland Security not talking about what are their needs. Nobody else is talking about a physical wall. I've been to Israel. In many places, there is no physical wall. There are listening devices. That's it. I'm glad she did too. We have to stand together and be united. You're right. Most of the country rightfully believes Trump started the shutdown. It's his responsibility, like so much other bad policy. And I would direct everyone, if you want to understand how presidents can be effective or destructive, I'm reading Doris Kearns Goodwin's book on many of the presidents that I admire personally and think they're really super. It's on Lincoln, my favorite, Teddy Roosevelt, and FDR, and also LBJ. But Timothy Egan wrote a book called The Worst Hard Times. I recommend it. It's about Herbert Hoover and how his policies destroyed America. You're right, kid. United we stand, divided we fall, and Trump likes the division. So we're at the bottom of the half hour, everyone. I want to say it was a real pleasure, and I'll see you most likely on Thursday, and we'll try it again. It's not so difficult. I can do this, and evidently I could look straight at you and read your comments easily, and we'll see what happens. I need 1,000 people on YouTube to monetize it. Doesn't work out that way, I'll do it another way. And yes, Kevin, you're right. Putin plays right into, rather not Putin, Trump plays into Putin's hands. And one has to wonder why. And why did he give Deripaska a pass? But I think we'll be hearing what's actually going on. So everyone, have a glorious day. It's been a pleasure. Glad to see you in both places. Thanks, Lise. Thanks, Kevin and Botter, for keeping the conversation going. See you on Thursday, everyone. You're right. Mueller is ready to talk. So I think that's a good thing. So goodbye, everyone, and have a great couple of days. See you on Thursday. Bye now.